Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Forrest Hayes and Alix Tichelman. First I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Forrest Timothy Hayes was born on May 10, 1962, in Dearborn, Michigan. After graduating from the University of Michigan, he found work with the Ford Motor Company. In 1996, he married a woman named Denise. The couple would go on to have 5 children. Eventually, Forrest changed gears with his career. He left Ford to enter the technology industry. He moved to Santa Cruz, California, and worked for Sun Microsystems and Apple as an executive in charge of purchasing. Upset by the frequent travel with Apple, he took a job with Google X. This is a division of Google that handles moonshot projects, that is, highly innovative and ambitious endeavors like self-driving cars. These projects are considered high risk, high reward. Forrest made a lot of money in his position, undoubtedly hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. He lived with his family in a $3 million mansion. Among his extravagant purchases were a $700,000 Porsche and a 46-foot yacht called Escape. After purchasing the yacht, he put $200,000 worth of work into it, including a captain's chair that cost $8,000. Forrest was not satisfied with the level of pleasure he was receiving from life and decided to make things even more exciting. He started using heroin and employing the services of sex workers. Forrest built a profile on a website called seekingarrangement.com, which is now known as seeking.com. The mission of the company was to connect sugar daddies and sugar babies seeking mutually beneficial relationships. Later, the company would put a disclaimer on the website which read, "Sugar dating and all forms of transactional relationships are strictly prohibited." This sounds like a disclaimer which should be followed by a wink wink. One particular sugar baby, named Alix Catherine Tichelman, caught the attention of Forrest. Alix was born in 1987 and raised in Canada. Her family was wealthy and maintained citizenship in both Canada and in the United States. The family moved to Maine, where Alix attended high school for a few months. Later, Alix ended up moving to the Atlanta, Georgia area. By this time, she was addicted to heroin. She started using the drug when she was 17. On social media, Alix represented herself as an artist, model, stylist, hustler, writer, exotic dancer, and baddest blank. The blank rhymes with pitch. She became romantically involved with a 53-year-old man named Dean Riopelli. He was a well-known business owner who lived in Milton, Georgia, 29 miles north of Atlanta. He had the unusual hobby of raising monkeys. On September 24, 2013, while in Dean's house, Alix called 911 and reported that Dean may have overdosed and was unresponsive. He died in a hospital a week later. His cause of death was an overdose of heroin, oxycodone, and alcohol. No one was charged in connection with his death, at least not at that time. About a month later, on October 30, 2013, Alix moved to Folsom, California to live with her parents. Right after she arrived, she built a sex worker profile on seekingarrangement.com. Again, this is where Forrest found her. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On November 22, 2013, Forrest Hayes told his wife he was going to his yacht in Santa Cruz Harbor. When he failed to return home, his wife grew concerned and contacted the captain of the yacht to investigate. The captain found Forrest dead on the floor in the cabin of Escape on the next day, November 23, 2013. He contacted the police. Investigators determined that Forrest had died from a heroin overdose. There were 2 glasses of wine in the cabin, which led the police to believe Forrest was not alone when he died. On his cell phone, they found that Forrest had been engaging the services of sex workers on seekingarrangement.com. Forrest had installed a high-tech video surveillance system on the yacht as part of his post-purchase upgrades. The captain told the police the cameras did not work, but investigators determined that was not true. The cameras had recorded on the night of November 22. The video revealed that Forrest was in the cabin alone when a dark-haired woman entered and gave him a hug. The police were able to find the woman on seekingarrangement.com due to her distinctive tattoos. They identified her as Alix Tichelman. Both Forrest and Alix drank wine before Alix retrieved heroin and injected it into her arm. After this, she injected Forrest in the arm. Alix seemed to tolerate the heroin reasonably well, but Forrest did not. He grabbed his chest and lost consciousness. Alix tried to prop him up and hugged him as if she was trying to help, but Forrest fell to the floor anyway. Instead of calling for help, Alix walked around the cabin drinking a glass of wine and retrieving her belongings, including the needle. She cleaned a counter, perhaps in an effort to destroy fingerprints. As she was moving around the cabin, Alix stepped over Forrest several times. His death was really inconvenient for her. Alix exited the cabin and looked back inside toward where Forrest was positioned on the floor. She pulled down the window blind, closed the door, and left. There was no attempt to call 911. The police believed that Alix had committed manslaughter by administering the drugs to Forrest and by failing to call for help. An undercover police officer posing as a sugar daddy contacted Alix on the website and asked to hire her. He promised that Alix would make at least $1,000 for one night of providing services. Alix fell for the trap, although she complained that she could have received $2,000 instead of $1,000. On July 4, 2014, Alix arrived at the secluded resort in Santa Cruz specified by the undercover officer. She was in the possession of heroin. Alix was arrested and charged with manslaughter, administering a controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance, destroying or concealing evidence, and prostitution. She never received the $1,000 that she was promised. On May 19, 2015, about 10 months later, Alix pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter, administering drugs, drug possession, destroying or concealing evidence, and prostitution. She was sentenced to 6 years in prison. When she was released on March 29, 2017, Alix Tichelman was immediately deported to Canada. Over a year later, in June 2018, Alix was indicted in the state of Georgia for felony murder, distribution of heroin, and distribution of oxycodone in connection with the death of her former lover, Dean Riapelli. Again, Dean died about 2 months before Forrest died. It appears as though the state of Georgia ran into difficulty when trying to extradite Alix from Canada because the criminal case was placed on hold. Alix was never prosecuted in Georgia. Now moving to my analysis. Just a few days before Alix Tichelman was indicted in the state of Georgia, she gave an interview to the media. It was conducted through video conferencing. Alix told her side of the story regarding the death of Forrest Hayes. Here's what she stated. Prior to the fateful meeting with Forrest on the yacht Escape, Alix had met him one time before, when he paid her more than $3,000 to go to lunch. He told her his name was Tim. Again, Forrest's middle name was Timothy. For the second meeting on November 22, 2013, Forrest asked Alix to bring heroin so they could party on his boat. She met him on his yacht in the Santa Cruz harbor. Alix injected herself and then injected him. This, of course, was recorded by video surveillance, so Alix really couldn't deny this part. When Forrest lost consciousness, Alix panicked. She was in a compromised state because, just like Forrest, she was high on heroin. Alix believed that Forrest was still breathing. She left him there because she wanted to be discreet. She knew he was married and he had a good job. She did not want to place him in danger of losing these things. While she was driving home, she stopped her vehicle multiple times, agonizing over calling 911. Ultimately, she decided against it, something she regrets every single day. Alix claimed that she called Forrest several times to check up on him, but his phone was deactivated. She denied claims that she behaved in a callous or uncaring way toward Forrest and does not like being represented as some type of killer. Alix is happy that she was deported to Canada. She found a job there in the hospitality industry and is no longer using drugs, having stopped prior to her release from prison. Alix would not feel safe in Santa Cruz because she believes the police there hated her. They wanted her to go to prison for many years. If she had been allowed to stay in Santa Cruz, she was worried that, one day, the police would pull her over and mysteriously find heroin in her trunk. She is suggesting the police would frame her for heroin possession. As I mentioned, a few days after this interview, Alix Tichelman was indicted for murder in the state of Georgia. It seems like the state of Georgia lost the will to pursue this case, which seems strange for a murder charge. Most jurisdictions take murder pretty seriously. Canada won't extradite someone if the death penalty is a possibility, but the state of Georgia could agree not to pursue that sentence. This is a very popular tactic when dealing with a country that has that rule about the death penalty. It doesn't really make any sense that Alix was never prosecuted. Maybe the state figured their case wasn't that strong in the first place. As long as Alix remains in Canada, she is safe from being prosecuted in the state of Georgia. There's always the possibility that something could go wrong for her. For example, if Canada ever became the 51st state, like Donald Trump wants, that would be bad news for Alix. I imagine she is pretty safe from that outcome. Moving to the next question, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Alix Tichelman was self-centered, impulsive, irresponsible, reckless, sensation-seeking, attention-seeking, had a sense of entitlement, and was addicted to heroin. She became a sex worker because she liked the excitement and needed money for drugs. Alix was very popular in her chosen profession. She had over 200 relationships. It's not clear what happened between Alix and Dean when Alix lived in Georgia. The state has accused her of murder, but Dean may have died from an accidental overdose. Alix called 911 and indicated she thought Dean had overdosed. She did not appear to be hiding anything. One would think that after Dean's death, Alix would have been reluctant to continue her drug use. She saw how the drugs killed Dean. She was right there with him. Unfortunately, Alix was not discouraged from substance use at all. She immediately resumed this activity when she arrived in California. This is how she encountered Forrest Hayes. Forrest had his own set of difficulties. He was impulsive, irresponsible, reckless, and sensation-seeking. He had been successful financially, but he was risking it all by hiring sex workers and using heroin. When people described him as a dedicated family man, they may have been a little too generous. On the night of the tragedy, Alix injected both herself and Forrest with heroin, but she did not realize that her tolerance for the drug was much higher than his. She was fine, but the dose killed Forrest. It's not clear if Alix really understood that she had caused his death. She may have believed that he was unconscious and would be fine later. Arguably, her efforts to destroy and conceal evidence were consistent with having a consciousness of guilt. However, one could also argue that Alix was simply trying to be discreet. She knew that Forrest did not want people finding out his secret. Another possibility here is that Alix knew that she killed Forrest, but figured it was his own fault. After all, Forrest was the one who asked for the heroin. Once he was dead, she couldn't do anything to bring him back, so she left him and continued with her life. There would always be another paying customer. It's not like Alix had to worry about obtaining money or drugs. Whether Alix was telling the truth or not, she was at least partially responsible for the death of Forrest. Being incarcerated was the best thing for Alix as far as breaking her free from addiction. Unfortunately, Forrest and Dean were never given the same opportunity. Those are my thoughts on the case of Forrest Hayes and Alix Tichelman. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Just a reminder that I have over 300 pre-release videos on my Patreon account. These videos are of the same quality as the videos I release to the public. When I put a video in pre-release status, it often stays that way for several months, if not a year. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video.